Have you ever met someone so shy that they avoided any kind of social interaction? This is the story of Theo, a little white rabbit who lived hidden in the shadows of his own shyness. Theo lived in a quiet clearing in the heart of the forest, where the sun shone gently through the leaves of the tall trees. But to him, the beauty of the forest was a stage full of fears. From a very young age, Theo always felt uncomfortable around other animals. At school, he could barely raise his hand to answer the owl teacher's questions, even when he knew the answer. During group games, he always stayed on the sidelines, afraid of making mistakes or being judged. His heart raced, his ears drooped, and a knot tightened in his stomach whenever someone approached to talk. Theo dreamed of being brave like the lion or graceful like the deer, but his shyness was an insurmountable barrier. He spent his nights alone, looking at the stars and wondering if it would ever be different. What Theo didn't know was that his life was about to take an unexpected turn, guided by a force much greater than he imagined. One afternoon, while the birds sang softly and the breeze swayed the leaves, Theo faced a challenge that seemed insurmountable. There was a big event in the forest, the Spring Festival. All the animals were preparing, and Theo was invited to be part of a performance. His heart raced at the invitation. The fear of failing in front of everyone was overwhelming. Despair took hold of Theo. He hid in his burrow, trembling with fear, feeling more alone than ever. As silent tears rolled down his face, he remembered the stories his mother told about faith and the power of prayer. Not knowing what else to do, Theo closed his eyes, clasped his paws, and cried out with all his heart, "God, please help me. Give me the strength to overcome this fear." In that moment of deep anguish, Theo felt an unexpected calm envelop him. It was as if a soft light surrounded him, warming his heart and driving away the darkness of fear. He couldn't explain it, but something inside him began to change. Theo felt a comforting presence, an invisible strength that gave him a glimmer of hope. In the days that followed, Theo began to notice small changes in his life. Early the next morning after his prayer, he met a squirrel named Sam, who needed help retrieving his fallen nuts. Still shy, Theo felt an unexpected courage and offered his help. Seeing Sam's grateful smile, Theo felt a spark of confidence. As the week progressed, other small signs began to appear. During a walk through the forest, Theo found a beautiful lone flower. He remembered his mother's words about how God places signs in our path. Theo took the flower to his burrow, feeling comforted. One night, while looking at the starry sky, Theo again felt that comforting presence, as if God was right there beside him. He began to believe he was not alone in this journey. In his dreams, Theo saw images of himself being brave and helping other animals, and each morning he woke up with a little more strength. These small events and the feeling of a divine presence gave Theo renewed hope. He began to face his days with more determination, feeling that his prayer had been heard and that God was guiding his steps little by little out of the darkness of shyness. Theo began to face his insecurities head-on. One day, during a meeting in the central clearing of the forest, the elder crow asked for volunteers to tell stories to the young ones. Normally, Theo would have hidden, but this time he felt an inner strength pushing him forward. With his voice still trembling, he told a story about courage, and the attentive little eyes of the young ones encouraged him to continue. When he finished, he was applauded, and for the first time he felt the warmth of acceptance and success. The small daily victories began to accumulate. Theo met a turtle that needed help crossing a stream, and without hesitation, offered his assistance. Each act of kindness and bravery reinforced his confidence. During the Spring Festival, the time for the performance arrived. Theo, who had now achieved several small victories, stepped onto the stage. He took a deep breath, looked at the sky, and remembered the comforting presence he felt on nights of despair. He began to speak, first slowly, then with more confidence. When he finished, the audience applauded enthusiastically. With each challenge overcome, Theo felt stronger. His faith was his guide and prayer his anchor. He knew that despite the difficulties, he was not alone, and that his shyness could be overcome with divine help. Theo continued to grow in confidence and courage. He began to participate more actively in forest activities, sharing ideas, and even leading small initiatives. On one occasion, he organized an expedition to explore an unknown part of the forest, something he never imagined doing before. His example of overcoming began to inspire other animals. The owl teacher commented on how Theo had transformed into a model of determination and faith. Shy animals like the little mouse Pip began to seek Theo for advice, and he always encouraged them to trust in God and their own abilities. One day, during a community meeting, Theo was invited to speak about his journey. He told his story with humility and gratitude, emphasizing how faith in God helped him overcome his shyness. The speech was received with emotion, and many animals felt touched and encouraged to face their own fears. Theo looked at the forest and realized how much he had changed. The shyness that once imprisoned him was now just a distant memory. He knew that the journey had not been easy, but each step was guided by unwavering faith. And so, Theo became a symbol of hope, showing everyone that when shyness overcomes us, we can call on God and find the strength to transform ourselves.